Welcome to Tokyo Alpha, the show where we talk about the Japanese NFT market and sometimes Japan-inspired stuff, a little bit of everything, but we mainly focus on what's going on in the Japanese NFT market, what's coming out, the news, the stuff, kind of the ground level stuff that people like to speculate on and gossip about. So my name is Tony, and today I'm not sure if my regular co-host Crypto will be able to make it. He's been super busy with Zeal Chain, the project that he's working on. Of course, the art by Yoshitaka Amano. And he's currently in the Philippines, so he's been, moving around and really busy. So he might pop on, he might not. But today I do have somebody else on the show, somebody who maybe some of you are familiar with if you listen to Neko Alliance at Neko Alliance. They do a weekly spaces on Tuesdays at 10 a.m. Japan time. And they also focus on the Japanese market. And one of the founders and co-host is on here with me, Sunrock.
GM Tony, thanks for having me on.
Yeah, no, great to have you. I'm a regular over on your space, so happy to have you over here.
Yeah, I'd love to have you on as a regular. It's great. It's great to hear what's happening in the market and getting the alpha. You definitely have a sense of the alpha more than anybody else, I think. So it's really awesome to have you every week, and it's great to be here. I can't wait to learn and talk about what's going on.
Yeah, great. Thank you. So, yeah, usually we'd start off if we bought or sold anything. The only thing that I have done really lately, it's been super quiet, and I've been very risk averse, been very careful lately, so I haven't really been buying or selling much. I sold an Iro um, for a little bit of a loss. I just, I wasn't feeling it. I just got out. But my entry was like 0.1 ish, so it wasn't that bad. But yeah, I mean, I'm sure they're gonna keep doing their stuff. They've got a whole roadmap and all that coming up. But I just didn't really, I don't know, vibe with it. I wasn't really clear on where everything was going, so I just, I'd rather just get out and focus on other stuff that I'm more knowledgeable about. So. But the floor has rebounded a bit. It was under mint price, and I think it's over like 0.08. I think last I checked. So it's okay. It's holding.
We were talking about the art being pretty good, and it's sashimi doing that art,
Yeah,
right? Which is
yeah.
the
So
same as Deka Den.
I believe so, right? Yeah.
Yeah, so we were kind of talking about that. The art is good. She's a really well-known artist. Really,
Hmm.
people like what she does. I mean, that's part of the equation. The art is
Yeah,
just part of the equation.
yeah. I mean, in I think the art came out looking nice. I just yeah, you know how the market is, right? Let's like once they stop paying attention, that's the thing, right? But Iro, I think they did a good job at reaching out to the global market. But now it's like, okay, how do you keep the attention? That's always the thing. So we'll see. I mean, they're backed by the Cyber Z, which is like a subdivision of Cyber Agent, a very large company. They're one of the things that they're most well known for is the game Uma Musume. It's a mobile game which was ridiculously popular. I think it's still quite popular in Japan. It's these personifications of racing horses as cute anime girls. So, but that thing really popped off. I think like a year or two ago. And they work on a bunch of other stuff. So we'll see. I mean, like they've got the backing to develop that into something bigger. But yeah, we'll see. We'll see. As for sashimi, yeah, we can get into one of the big news that happened in the past, I think, 2 days. So Deka Den released a bunch of information, including their mint price, and some other, just a little bit more of a concrete roadmap, I guess. Plus, then people started kind of talking about the art and kind of a little bit of criticism. I don't know, like it seems like it was a combination of those two things that led to yesterday. I was looking at the floor price. It was selling for like 1.3 wrapped offers, WETH, and but it had been over 3 ETH until recently, but it's bounced back a bit. It's like 1.67, but there's really not a lot of sales coming in. So it seems like it might only be like a very small portion that has kind of panic sold out, and we'll see where it goes from here. But there isn't like this constant undercutting going on. It seems like it's calmed down at the moment. And then we've got the price, which is so it was 0.23 for the whitelist mint, and then 0.29 for the public. And for a for a project originating from Japan, that is basically unheard of. But of course, the argument here is, it's Toei. They're developing this into something much bigger. There's going to be continued utility and all that. But yeah, it is a high mint price, right? I don't know. Like, you got any thoughts on that, Sunrock?
Yeah, I mean that's something we Neil and I were talking about actually. Yeah, it is a high mint price, so it'll be interesting to see how that goes. Um,
Mm-hmm.
Especially given the fact that it was a free mint with a sort of like you could volunteer to put something in, and it turned out that people who had the memo who were in the Discord were finding out that if you put in a certain amount, I think it was like 0.07. I don't know what that number was. You're
Yeah, I think
almost
it was.
yeah, you're
Yeah.
almost guaranteed a rare, basically one of the higher end ones. So um, I didn't see that memo, but then I paper handed it anyway, which was not a smart move. But I think it's like things popped suddenly when the Toei announcement came out, and it's sort of like
Yeah.
things like that kind of like have their run, and it's like people need to be reminded of that. I think maybe they are, but there's that, and then it just seems like people love to FUD, when there's something that maybe there's a
Mm-hmm.
target. So
Mm-hmm.
easy to FUD art that maybe you don't agree with, or you think that's it's not as it just wasn't what the expectation was. So I think
Yeah.
those
Yeah.
are two things that are going on, perhaps.
Yeah, yeah, I agreed, and of course, it is so much easier to, or maybe that's not the right way to put it, but when the floor is, at one point it was over 5 ETH, I think, and then for quite a while it was over 3 ETH. When it's that high, the people that bought in high, they're quick to complain, and in a way, rightfully so, but also, you also need to keep in mind, like, you chose to take that risk to buy in at over 3 ETH. So this is a very speculative space, and it's like, yeah, we all have the right to complain, but we also have to keep in mind, like, if you're choosing to buy in over 3 ETH, that is a choice you are choosing to make as well. So it's not a one-way thing, right?
That's a really good point. You FOMO in, you're in over 3 ETH, and it can get pretty salty if things kind of start to if you
Yeah,
see things that aren't what you expect, or you see the floor price starting to drop. It's easy easy to feel that way.
yeah. Yeah, 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 yeah. I mean, and we especially with such a small collection, it's like 750, I think, for the Omikuji, the Genesis collection. That's a really, like, volatile floor, right? Like, if you just buy, even right now, I think if you buy like three or four, it's already back over like 2 ETH, or maybe even close to 3 ETH. Uh, so these things can move really fast, and they're quite illiquid. Like, not that many sales are coming in even for Den Deka Den. So it's just a really risky thing, and it's a highly speculative space. So like, I do hope Den Deka Den does well. I hope that the, I don't know, like, personally, like, the previews that I saw of the art, like, like, it wasn't my thing, but I hope it all works out, because I do think that Den Deka Den has been a very interesting example of what can come out of Japan, because as we all know, the market has been so heavily dominated by, of course, Ikehaya, but also very, like, low budget homegrown projects, which are not aimed at the global market. They're aimed at small Japanese holders, that they're not ever going to reach out in the global community in any significant way. And then they can then immediately from the get go, they had a very global perspective.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think that was one reason I was really rooting for them. They had that global
Mm-hmm.
perspective. They're reaching out. The other reason is, well, the other big thing with them is I really feel like the community was very active, or is active in doing making art, and actually helping doing derivatives. Sort of like fan art derivatives. So I think they had the right approach. I'm not following it that closely in the Discord, but my understanding was that it was very active, and
Mm-hmm.
a lot of the holders were making really nice fan art. And I see tweets
Yeah,
from time
like,
to time
even
from
to,
Salary and from other people.
yeah, like today I was looking at their Twitter and they're retweeting people that are doing fan art, and it's like, oh, I just listed this on Foundation and stuff, and that's really nice to see. For, I mean, of course, it's, let's be honest, like I've helped run a project too, and these fan art competitions are part of the PR and the marketing thing, and it is what it is. But they're retweeting these people that are saying, I just listed my thing on Foundation or whatever, and that is an advertisement for them, right? It's an opportunity for these artists to get their name out and hopefully make some money off of that. So if an artist is participating in that and they're financially benefiting from that, I mean, that's absolutely great for them. So that's a win-win.
For sure. For sure, I agree.
Yeah. Oh, let's see. AOT-san, a long time NFT buddy of both of us, I think. He requested. I'd be happy to have him on. This is a little bit different from the usual spaces that I do because this is very market focused. But I don't know if you want to jump in on the Deka Den uh,
Hello, good morning.
conversation. Hey, AOT. Hey, what's up?
I just jumped in, so I don't know the context, but so I am gonna listen like
Okay.
for like a minute. Sunrock-san,
Yeah, no problem, no problem. We were just
久しぶり.
talking about
Yeah.
Deka Den.
Okay. That's,
Yeah.
Yeah, AOT-san.
yeah,
It's been a while.
yeah.
GM.
And and then I heard that Tony is going to come to Japan, so I recommended Trunk Hotel to make
Trunk,
a
yeah.
meet-up event. So
Yeah.
and
Wow,
then
I didn't hear that. That's
Tony said,
amazing. Awesome.
yeah. Tony said that Trump Hotel, not trunk,
I
Trump.
Oh, Trump
I
Hotel.
just saw the Trump, and then I just assumed Trump. It's like, oh, okay, sure.
So I said, no, not Trump Hotel. It's Trunk Hotel.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, that's shitty conversation, but I'm sorry.
Too early in the
It's
morning
been
for
a while.
those kind of gags for me.
Yeah. So
The
yeah,
Trunk Hotel. Yeah. No, I know
you
you know, like Alliance, you do your stuff over there too, right?
yeah.
Yeah, we've had some
And
events
you
there, and we go to there's always events going on at the Trunk Hotel in Shibuya.
The Trunk. Yeah. The Elephant Trunk Hotel.
Right.
yeah. Is that every other Tuesday? Is that right? Sunrock.
We're not doing those events right now, but there's always
Okay.
events going on. But yeah, we were doing
Okay.
it. Neil was kind of leading that with another guy. But yeah, we'll probably do some stuff in the future. But there are always just events, different people doing stuff there. So it's,
Right. Yeah. Actually, I went there once this year. I forgot the name. It's a generative art project. The founder was there. I forgot the name. It's okay, but
actually we met there a long time ago at an event.
yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so maybe in June when I'm there, maybe we can go to Trunk Hotel.
Oh, awesome.
Yeah.
So June.
I'm
That's great.
I
Yeah.
I can wait.
Yeah. I will let you guys know which days I'll be in Tokyo.
Wow, that would be nice. Great.
Yeah. No, great to see people that I've been talking to sometimes like over a year, but I've never actually met them in person.
Yeah,
yeah.
That's true.
Yeah.
We met though, but you're not. You're not.
Yeah, not me. Yeah.
Not me. Yeah.
I'm just a voice.
Okay. Yeah.
All right. So we'll continue with the show. So we'll wrap up with the Deka Den thing.
Okay.
It is an expensive mid price, but we'll see what happens. I think sometimes you hear people say like for example with Valhalla that was 0.5, and I would hear people say no, that's bullish because that gets out some of the flippers with less capital. They don't want to get in on that. And so far Valhalla has stayed over mid price. It's 0.7 something, I think at the moment. It's gotten up as high as like 1.5. It kind of goes up and down. If Toei really pushes this and can get some mainstream interest on this, you never know. I mean, it could go up from there, but yeah, it's a risky space. So if you're okay, if you have whitelist, then it's your decision. But I do hope it does well, just for Japan in general, for the NFT space, so that it gets some attention outside of some of the stuff that we're going to be talking about now. The next part.
I agree. I'm really rooting for
Yeah,
them to,
yeah,
help reach out and break out into the international market. So yeah, I'm really rooting for the project. So we'll
yeah,
see.
yeah, yeah. Yeah. So I think the release is in early April. At least that's. I don't think they released an exact date, but from the tweets that I saw, like it seemed like they were gearing up for early April.
Yeah,
Um,
that's what I saw as well.
okay, okay, good, good. All right. So yeah, so keep an eye on that. Hopefully, if you got whitelist, congrats. I do have a spot, so yay. So we'll see what happens. All right. So the next big thing that happened in the past few days was Kanerin. He's a Japanese NFT influencer. It seems that he dumped possibly 107 crypto ninja partners on the market all of a sudden, all at once. And this was, I think, like last Saturday. I think it was like 2 3 days ago. So yeah, then that the floor was already in the 1.4s, I think, and then it went down to the 1.2s. And then people started stepping in and buying it pretty quickly. And Ikehaya says he bought 18. And then the floor pumped to like 1.7, maybe like 1.7, almost 1.8, around there, I think. But now the floor is back down to like the 1.4. So basically, it's back where it was before that this whole dump thing happened. And the interesting thing about this whole thing is that Kanerin was well, he's still very well known, but he's not as visible as he was like maybe a year ago or 6 months ago, or yeah, roughly. But um,
Right.
so yeah. Oh, was somebody going to say something?
Yeah, I said just right. You're right.
Oh,
I
yeah, like you don't see him as much
yeah,
as he used to be. He used to be everywhere, but you don't see him as much, right? Um,
I agree.
That's a good point. Do you have any perspective on that? What he's been doing? Why he's been low, kind of low profile
so as
until
far
this
as I
weekend?
know, as far as I know, so the first time around, I think this comes back to the first time around he dumped. So in the summer, he dumped another like 100 or so crypto ninja partners, and that was a big deal. And people are like, Kanani, how could you do that? You know, blah, blah, blah. And then Ikehaya was kind of upset, but he wasn't talking about him directly. Like he wasn't saying Kanani did this, but he was kind of talking about the whole situation. And it was kind of a dramatic situation in the Japanese space. And then from there, what Kanedin did comment at the time. He said something like, "Oh, I'm going to be moving on to start some business or something in Tokyo. I'm going to be focusing on stuff in Tokyo," because I think he was in Nagoya at the time. And so he was moving to Tokyo and starting more business endeavors over there. And so he needed the capital to do that. It's like that was his explanation. Of course, whether you find that acceptable or not is probably it depends on whether you have a CMP or not. But that was his thing. And then from there, what happened was that he was saying like, oh, he felt like he was totally exiled, like he was, a total exile from the Ninja DAO, and he didn't like the kind of general atmosphere that was there. It felt so like non-Web3, and he didn't like what was going on, and they basically, maybe not even officially, but kind of the members stopped like talking to him, gave him the cold shoulder and all that. Both, I think, even a little bit before he sold, and then after he sold, and then of course now he's like persona non grata. Like the CMP people, especially now after the second round of dumping, people are like, Kanye, I will never forgive you. People are like tweeting stuff like that.
Okay.
So
Yeah, yeah. Technically, the difference between the first dump and second dump is that
mhm,
the first time a Canadian listed the like 100 items, for it
mhm,
took some time to sold everything. But this time,
yeah,
he accepted that the offers all of a sudden, so it's quicker than the last one.
mhm, mhm,
You know what I mean?
yeah, yeah, yeah,
And lower
yeah, yeah, yeah,
price is lower than because it's offer. Offer is always
yeah, exactly,
lower
yeah,
than yeah. That's
yeah, yeah, yeah. There
one
are
thing I
not that
agree.
many
Mm,
offers at any one point, so the offers, they start selling for much cheaper very fast.
right.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So, like I'm not sure exactly, going back to your question, Sunrock, like it might be a combination of two things. He used to, so he minted like 400 crypto ninja partners, or maybe a little bit more. And he used to be I don't know if he still is, he used to be a crypto ninja original like Genesis holder. And it's very, very difficult to get into that basically inner circle to get that. So I think Ikehaya considered him like a close partner. And so to Ikehaya, this was an absolute betrayal of him. And I've heard Ikehaya talk about how so many people have betrayed him over the years, and he's used to it, and this and that. Like he's gone on these diatribes, like these monologues, talking about how people betray him, and this is just part of the game. And so I think that, of course, the believers in CNP and the believers in Ikehaya, probably, they're not going to pay attention to Kanedin. They're not going to retweet him. They're not going to do stuff like that. And then I don't know if Kanedin has chosen to focus more on like maybe non-NFT stuff. I'm not sure what his business plan is, how he's kind of handled over the past few months this whole thing. But here's my speculation on why he chose to sold 100 now. So Ikehaya has been talking about migrating the contract for CNP Crypto Ninja Partners to a new contract so that he can block Blur, he can block maybe even OpenSea, because he's been complaining about how OpenSea is going to cut. Well, they already cut royalties. He was complaining about that. So he's not getting royalties from sales. Bots, as he calls them, I don't know if they're actually legit bots, but he says they buy CNP and then they resell for cheaper because they keep lowering the floor. So then he keeps buying those. So he wants to get off OpenSea. He wants to get off these royalty-free platforms. And probably what's going to happen is he's going to go over to Kosei's platform, Kosei from Start JPN. He's currently, I think, in the beta of his NFT marketplace. He wants to go over there, and I think they want to build this like Japan marketplace where people have to go to buy Japanese NFTs, so that he can protect his royalties. He can keep away the bots. But here's the thing. I think liquidity will be much, much lower at that point. Less people will be buying. The foreign market will probably not be interested in going to some NFT marketplace that isn't one of the trusted ones that they're used to using. So if you're going to dump 100 Crypto Ninja partners, I think right now is the time to do it before they move the contract.
Well, is that possible to change contract after you sell NFTs like in that scale?
So it would be basically this contract would be dead. They make a new contract.
Mhm.
They airdrop the NFTs to all the present holders.
So the NFT that exists now is going to be like trash. I mean,
Yeah,
nothing.
exactly. It's
Okay,
going to be
okay.
zero. Yeah,
Uh-huh.
yeah,
And then they transfer new ones to the
yep. They airdrop.
former.
That's
Okay,
what Ikehaya was saying.
okay. Wow, I didn't know
Yeah.
the new Japanese platform
Mm-hmm.
Kosei-san gonna make. I
Yeah,
didn't
yeah.
know. I didn't know.
Kosei-san is he already has a beta, I think,
Okay.
version now. Yeah.
Wow, I didn't know that.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So it's very interesting. It's a very sakoku approach. like
Don't
so
say that. I'm gonna cry.
but it is though. So for everybody that doesn't know what sakoku is the Edo period. They closed themselves off to the outside world and said, we don't need the outside world. We're gonna do our own thing. And there was a lot of interesting culture that came out of the Edo period. Ukiyo-e and blah blah blah. It was
Yeah.
there was a lot of interesting things that happened
Yeah,
in the Edo period. But
that is a good point. Maybe.
that is, yeah, it develops in its own way, and that's interesting. But here's the thing though, like if it's a very confusing messaging, because especially since about December, January, Ikehaya-san has been tweeting almost only in English. He's been really focusing on the outside market. He's been doing AMAs with big projects like Momoguro and, Captain's Meme Land and all that. He's been really, really pushing the marketing for the outside world, but now he's complaining about outside buyers and bots and no more royalties, and he wants to move away from the global market, but he's still tweeting in English. And now many non-Japanese holders are complaining that they're not getting whitelists for all these new projects that are coming out. So it's a confusing messaging for the non-Japanese market.
Confusing sakoku.
Yeah. Because it's kind of like he's saying two things at the same time, right?
Yeah.
To the non-Japanese market.
Right.
Yeah. So it's very, very interesting to see what's going on and what will happen.
Right.
It's super interesting, and that's why I end up talking about it, even though I don't really care that much, right? Like,
you seem you are enjoying so much about that from outside.
Yeah, from outside, yeah, because I don't have any of these NFTs, so I don't care if it goes up, if it goes down, you know?
Me neither. Me neither. I don't have
Yeah.
any of NFTs that related with him.
Oh, so okay, I lied. I have Ikehaya Pass. I have Ikehaya Pass, and I made money
Okay.
from Ikehaya Pass. I sold the
Okay.
top, and then I bought when it went back down. So I have a few. I don't know.
So
Maybe I'll sell some. I don't know,
okay,
but
my
yeah.
my wallet is so clean. I mean,
But you know, it's
I
no.
don't
But
blame
this is
anything. I don't blame anything. I'm sorry.
yeah, no. But I think this is really important to keep an eye on and to understand because
Yeah,
he does still have influence,
yeah,
a big amount of influence on the
yeah,
Japanese
yeah.
NFT market.
I think that's the problem. It's too much
Mhm.
influence,
Mhm. Yeah,
he
yeah,
has.
yeah. And, you know, I've explained it before, maybe on even on Nickel Alliance, but you know, the issue here is not that he says, you know, gajiho, or that he wants diamond hand people, or
Yeah,
that or that he does blacklists for people that sell. That's not really the issue.
yeah, right.
To me, the bigger issue is that Ikehaya-san is the biggest influencer in Japan,
It's like
and he has
almost
his
like,
own
yeah,
projects,
almost like a
but
monopoly.
he
Monopoly,
talks about other projects. He kind of he controls the whole market,
right?
you know, in a way that is beneficial to him.
Yeah.
And but in the global market, you know, you don't see Yuga Labs, or you don't see Azuki, you
Mm,
don't see Doodles, you don't see Moonbirds, you don't
mm,
see their marketing team doing that kind of thing. It's separate, right?
right.
So, but that's the thing. Like in Japan, it's very centralized around him and this whole Ninja DAO thing,
Yeah.
and
So
that's the thing that
that
worries me.
yeah, that's disappointing me because it's like almost monopoly. And then
Hmm.
I dreamed, it's gonna be
Hmm.
a decentralized world,
Yeah,
can happen, but it's like almost like centralized market here in Japan. That's I think the issue, I think, as you say.
yeah, yeah. So you know, you know, again, I'm just repeating myself, but you know, I think the best thing for the Japanese market is that we get more and more projects.
Right.
Well, not just numbers, but I mean like different kinds of projects
Yeah.
that reach new people,
Right.
and there's a variety of people, you know, in different communities, different things that these projects are trying to achieve,
Okay. Right.
instead of just like one community that controls like 50% or
Right.
more of the market.
Right. I know one project that's totally different from that kind of thing.
Yeah.
And it's it's my project. I mean, I'm
Oh,
sorry.
which one?
I just founded a new company today.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so I'm founder. Check my profile. So
Oh, geez, I didn't know this. Yeah, this is brand new information.
so it's like NPO. No,
Oh,
so it's
nice.
gonna be a totally different. So
Uh-huh.
through this NPO, it's technically not NPO, but almost like NPO. Through this NPO, I try to help individual creators, this centralized community, and then to support artists with NFT. That's my
Cool. I mean, I know you've already been doing that, but
yeah.
now I guess you made it like officially a company.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
I'm gonna launch like new physical PJ NFT. It's not like NFT project, but physical project with NFT. You know what I mean?
Uh-huh.
So
Yeah.
it's gonna be it's not gonna be a big deal, compared to
Hmm.
like big project, but it's gonna be a different, one piece. Uh, so I'm so excited, you know.
Great. No, that's great to hear.
Congratulations.
Thank you so
Yeah,
much,
I didn't.
Samok.
Yeah, I didn't
Awesome.
know about this, so it's great to hear. So, but just for anybody listening in the podcast, so AOT-san is at oriented. It's yeah, at oriented
Tokyo.
Tokyo,
Yeah.
right? Yeah,
Yes.
at oriented Tokyo. You can find him there.
Yeah.
So great.
But
So,
it's been a
yep.
long way to, make it, in physical world.
Sure.
It's gonna be tough, but I'm gonna enjoy with that project with, friends or people who, understand me. I don't care the people who don't understand my project or value of art,
Hmm.
not just for the investment. I don't care. So that kind of people. So I'm gonna make a difference.
Yeah. No, that's great. And I mean, helping artists, that's something I think we all try to do in our own way. But I think
Right.
art, especially like, with so many of these big projects, it is very much about the launch, and it goes up and then it goes down. But
Yeah.
with art, it's a much more long-term approach, and
Right.
it's all
Right.
about basically building a career.
Yeah.
When you decide you want to do art, you're deciding to start a career and build little by little.
Yeah. And the one point is that I don't blame other, project or big project. I
Mhm.
want to make it, um, with a variety of, kind of projects. It's
Yeah,
healthier than, one
exactly.
monopoly. So that's what I want.
No, I agree. I agree. Yeah, I mean that's how you get also competition,
Right.
and competition is, for example, what happened with Blur and OpenSea.
Mm,
Now people don't have to pay the royalties, and that's both a good thing and a bad thing. But in a
yeah.
way, it's good for the customers, because it's like, oh, now I get to get more money. Like.
Right.
So competition is mostly good. I think like
Yeah,
it
basically,
results in people trying
basically,
new things.
yes,
Hmm.
I agree.
Yeah. Hmm.
Basically, that's a good thing.
Yeah. It's better than just one person. It's like, okay, this is what's gonna sell, and that gets
Yeah,
boring.
yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so then just a couple other updates of what's been going on.
Okay.
So,
Hey,
TO,
Tony, just
yeah,
just quick on your
yeah, yeah,
points on the points you just made. I think the Connerin dump. I
yeah.
think your take on that is probably accurate. I
Hmm.
think your theory is pretty good. It's like big news was coming, and he wasn't sure where he was going to stand in terms of being able to get out or just what the value of the project might be. So it was a good time to dump. So
Yeah.
I think that was a good take. And
Oh,
then
thank you.
regarding the big push in English and the big push internationally, it seems on Twitter. Yet doing this sakoku
Yeah.
strategy at the same
Uh-huh.
time. You're right. I mean, it's conflicting and it doesn't quite make sense. So it's going to be interesting to see how that goes.
Yeah.
It's like you're going in two different directions strategy
That's
wise.
that's the thing. Yeah, that like I think his Japanese messaging is pretty consistent, because I do listen to his spaces sometimes and I see what he says, but in English it kind of goes. He's kind of saying two things, or at least it's easy to interpret it that way, and that's not good. That doesn't inspire confidence. And I'm getting more and more comments and replies to my tweets, or to people in Discord saying like, oh, he doesn't give whitelist to foreigners and this and that, and I'm getting more negativity coming. And of course, social media is like, either it's all about extreme negativity and extreme positivity. So you can get a very skewed perspective. But still, I think that there is a growing sentiment among some non-Japanese buyers that like there's no point in buying in, because they can't participate fully anyway.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Yeah. And I mean, we see this playing out with TOL Pass and Umuco's art. I mean, did you see Umuco's art today, or yesterday, Sunrise?
Oh, I didn't see it.
Okay, yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
basically, it did the same thing as TOL Pass. It's like very few sales on secondary. The floor, Umuco's art is the free mint by the LLAC creator. The floor is like 0.3 something, but there were only like 20 sales for like a 3,000 piece collection. TOL Pass, I don't know if there's been more, but there were only about 6 sales for a 5,000 piece collection. I know there's some that are for the creators, like the Treasury Vault, whatever. But still, like, people are what this is saying is that, yes, they've created one of the most diamond hand communities ever, uh, and they've done it through various strategies, including like specifically blacklisting people that sell, and picking only people that don't sell, and hand checking each wallet address. But it also tells me that people are not willing to spend the prices that are being, these NFTs are listed at. The vast majority of people in the Japanese NFT space don't see this as something they want to spend money on. Like, if you look at the wrapped offers, like for example, Umuco, it's like half of the listing price. It's like 0.16, where the listing price is 0.32. That's a huge gap. Like, you don't see that on Bored Apes. You don't see that on Azuki. The we offer floor to the actual listing offer floor is much closer on a project that has actual demand. So that tells me people, yes, like the strategy is working in a way. They are developing like, crazy diamond-handed community, but does that is that a good strategy long term? Like, because people just are not willing to pay what people want to sell it for.
Yeah, that's a problem structurally.
Mm-hmm.
Problem for the market for sure.
Yeah, and they're free mints, so they're not really making any significant. I mean, they made a little bit from maybe a little bit of royalties, but they're not making any money from the primary. So I don't know. Like, this is weird.
Are you talking about TOL Pass?
TOL Pass and Umuco's art,
Umuco's art.
which is the new.
I don't know. Umuco's what? It's like
Umuco is the artist of LLAC,
okay. I got
and
I got it. I got it.
yeah, she did a free mint yesterday.
Okay. I don't.
Yeah.
I can't catch up everything.
No, I
Not,
know. Like, even
but
I
you
can't
you
catch up
do.
with
But you
everything.
do. You do.
Yeah,
Definitely
I
you
miss
do.
stuff, but still. But yeah, I mean, it's the whole gachiho like extreme, gachiho to the extreme. But like, I mean, it's so weird, right? Like,
Yeah.
I get, like, you want to get your NFTs to the people that actually want your NFTs. That's a good strategy, right? You want to pick the people that actually care about your art and your community and your utility and who you are. That's a good motivation, good strategy.
Right.
But right now, it's gone so much to the extreme that now, if you don't get in on the beginning, then people are deciding there's no point to get in.
Right.
I don't know. Like, maybe this is like the genius strategy that will go 1 year from now. Go, oh my God, they got it right. Maybe. I don't know.
I, do you think that's Japanese unique thing? Is that like
I think
extreme strategy? Like
a
inside?
little bit. I
Okay.
mean, Sunrock, I know that there are communities that do sell shaming and stuff like that in the global market. I mean, I can think of a couple. I'm not going to say them, but like, I hear stories, but people still complain, right?
Right.
I mean, is it kind of like just at the heart of it? Is it this kind of like this psychology of you have to be part of the group, and if you're not part of the group, then you're not gonna be part of that group. You're not. So the group is sort of formed in the beginning stages. When something goes out, and so people don't want to sell. There's not a lot of liquidity, and then people don't feel like they're part of that group, so they're not going to buy in. Is that part of it as well? You guys
I
think?
I think so.
Do you think
Like, I
is
think
that
once,
You can't enter. It's
yeah,
like it's sort of like this group
yeah,
is what it is. Like I'm not part of it. I'm not going to be part of that.
yeah,
I can't enter it. Is
what
that an
you're
issue?
saying is true. I think true, but I think it's Japanese like thing. I think. What do you think?
Yeah,
I
that's what I'm saying. It's
Yeah,
like
yeah,
I
yeah,
think
yeah.
it's easier to happen in Japan.
yeah.
Yeah, right.
Hmm.
It's interesting. It's culture, like deep.
Yeah,
So it's
it
deep
is. It
culture.
is. Right. And it's also like in the global market, I mean, sometimes, a lot of times, way too much, people complain for any little thing, right? But in Japan, less people complain even for big things.
Right. They don't say anything like for like.
Come on, you have to just put up with it.
Well, sort of like if
So
people don't complain, and there is the ability to follow the leader and sort of stay in line and just make sure you're kind of following what the group wants to do and is
Yeah.
doing and what
Yes.
the leader
Yes.
is saying. So people overseas will easily complain and will
Mm-hmm.
easily fud a project that they're part of.
Mm-hmm.
Like Doodles was getting massively fudded, and Moonbirds getting massively fudded by their own community and complaining about the founders, complaining about stuff. I
Mm-hmm.
think that's very common. It's like, if you're not showing me what you're doing for me right now,
Wow.
then you're gonna hear it. That's
yeah,
a lot harder to do, I think, in Japan, if you're part of that group. And even if you're not part of the group, you're just going to be polite and not talk about it.
Mm-hmm.
So I think
Yeah.
that psychology, that cultural, um, fact is a big part of this.
Right.
Yeah.
But I think
And
there is
oh, go ahead.
tipping point, I think. If
Yeah.
you come over, the tipping point, they, would start complaining, I think. Like all of a sudden, for everyone, I think. There's a tipping point,
Mm,
I think, for those
I
people.
agree.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
we
Yeah.
let's see. Let's see what's gonna.
No, yeah, exactly. I mean, again, interesting stuff to watch how it plays out. But here's another factor that goes into this, I think. Like, well, it's kind of like two layers. One is that pretty much all these projects that we're talking about were extremely cheap or free,
Right.
right? Like CMP was 0.001.
In the beginning, yeah.
So yeah, and of course now there are a lot of people that bought in for 0.5, 1 ETH, 2 ETH, maybe some people that bought for 3 ETH or more.
Mm-hmm.
But the core, the people, the whales, the people that have a lot, they probably got in early. Like Kanedin bought 400, he minted 400.
Mm-hmm.
So there's a lot less stress to that. If you bought 400 at 1 ETH,
Right.
that's totally different, right? But if you
Right.
bought 400, you minted for 0.001, like
Yeah.
that's a lot less risk, right?
Right.
So overall, Japanese people are more risk averse. Like there's less investment that goes on. There's less of this degen stuff that goes on. So it also makes it easier to hold it for a long time. So I think that's part of it. And also, most Japanese holders haven't experienced like maybe what Sunrock, and I know I've experienced this, like these projects that pump like crazy and then dump and you lost, like 0.2, 0.3 in like 1 hour, right? Like like that's the global market. We know, like if a project goes crazy, sell because you're probably going to lose money if you don't sell in the next 10 minutes.
Yeah.
Sell before other people.
Yeah. And we've been kind of traumatized a little bit by that. We know that happens. It's a pattern that happens. But in
Wow.
Japan, that doesn't happen that
I
much.
think we haven't experienced that thing in Japan, I think.
Yeah. Like,
You're right.
even Bored Apes, it went to like $500,000 almost, and it's come down, right? Like if you bought $500,000, you're not happy.
You're not happy.
Yeah.
And don't remind me that it went to $500,000.
It's not same, but I see many Clone X holders,
Sure.
Japanese holder. And Clone X is so popular in Japan, and the
Yeah.
floor prices is going down. So
Down. Yeah.
they care about that so much.
Yeah. But see, though, that's a very yes, super popular. People love Clone X, and many influencer kind of people have their Clone X PFP. But that is a very small portion of the Japanese market. That's the kind of person that does buy like non-Japanese NFTs. They're a little bit more like on the risk side of the spectrum, right? They're okay spending more money, but
Okay.
I think most people in Japan are not spending that much money on NFTs. Like that's my general impression. They usually buy they support creators like yourself, AOT-san. They support like smaller people. They're not buying that many like 1 ETH, 2 ETH NFTs usually.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they are the more knowledgeable people. A little bit, they'll take on risk. And I just another point I wanted to make is I think Japanese people, and I think you kind of made this last week on our show. They're not used to. They're not as knowledgeable about investing, or they're not as active in investing or thinking about things, thinking about money, or thinking about how to manage money, outside of the bank account or whatever it is. And so it's something that's much more a part of the culture, I think, overseas. And people getting into this space, I mean, a lot of them maybe came in through crypto or maybe they've come in directly into NFTs, but there's such a big, it's such a big part of the culture to talk about investing and talk about money management a lot more than Japan is. So I think that kind of plays into it. If you get in at 0.01 or whatever, or free mint, it's kind of like, oh, I've got this cool asset. I really like it. I vibe with the community. I'm part of this group. And, there's no incentive to say like, oh, I could turn this around for $1,000, Jumanen or Jugomanen or whatever it is.
Yeah.
There's not that thinking. It's like, oh, I'm part of this club and I like it.
Yeah.
And that's
and
it.
Once you're out, you're out.
Yeah. And once you're out, you're out and you're exiled.
Yeah.
So it's like, you're not thinking about, okay, I could make some money and then I could buy something else that I like. You're just like, you want to be part of the group. You don't want to be ostracized. You don't want to be exiled. So I
Yeah,
think that's
yeah,
the root issue that's going on,
yeah,
in my
yeah.
opinion. Yeah.
For better or worse, Japan is infamous for being one of the countries with the most money in just regular savings accounts in banks instead of like investing and
Yeah.
stuff. Like people like this is a well-known thing. I don't know exact numbers, but it's well known that Japan keeps like is a very much still even now very cash focused, and they kind of like keep money in the bank. They don't do anything with it as a general country trend.
Yeah, because the
Right.
post office is where most of the money is, right? In
Yeah.
Yeah,
Japan.
yeah,
So
yeah.
So no, the little risk for bankrupt, like uh,
Yeah. Well, yeah, like FTX and yeah, Japan has been really like safe like all this time, like with everything going on in the
yeah,
world. Even the NFT market has held on pretty well. Like even FTX Japan was like,
yeah. It's
I think the only FTX that was like
right,
okay.
right. It's so unique.
Yeah, yeah. So there is a good side to this. I'm not
Right,
saying that it's
right,
all bad. This is just it's a complicated issue,
right.
and there are multiple factors to why
Mm,
people gachiho and all this stuff. Right? There's
right,
multiple reasons.
right.
Yeah.
It's funny.
It is. It is. It's really interesting, right? It's like
Right.
thanks to regulation in Japan, people couldn't do staking, couldn't do a whole bunch of things, but also people didn't lose a bunch of money in FTX. So it's good and bad. It's both.
Right.
yeah, there's a good part of it.
Yeah.
That's true. And
Mhm.
if you're not like if you don't know what's happening, if you're not aware of it, then
Mhm.
you're protected. I mean, a lot of people in the U.S. were not aware of what's going on. They were not
Exactly.
protected, and yeah. So I think there is a good side of that here.
Mhm.
But when you analyze like what's going on with these projects, I think that psychology and that fact that it's not part of the culture to be looking to flip and make money uh, and take risky bets. That fact is definitely key. It's definitely at
Yeah.
play, I think.
Yeah. 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 So let's get into. I mean, we're coming in close on an hour. I like to keep it at about an hour. So we'll get into just some of the projects that are coming up. Panlo is a new project by Start JPN. It's a free mint, 10,000 supply. That's Panlo, and you can find the information over at Start JPN's Twitter. Coming out on 3/25 Japan time. It's like a dragon themed kind of PFP thing. Honestly, I'm not getting the vibe that people are like really hyped about this outside of maybe the Start JPN ecosystem. I mean, they're going to get to mint, but outside of that, I'm not really getting vibes that people are like really talking about this and anticipating it. So yeah, I don't know if you have a Neostacky or a Crypto Ninja World, I guess you probably get the mint or you got to apply. Um, so congrats, maybe you got whitelist, but yeah, I'm not personally interested in this because I don't really see where this goes from after that. I don't really see the long term thing about this. Um, well, we'll move on, and we can comment on do a little. I'll just kind of run through these, and then if we want to comment on any of them, afterward, we can do that. But TMA Soldiers is like the next big thing. TMA, the Mafia Animals, is the project by the artist of the original Crypto Ninja collection. Basically, he's the co-founder with Ikehaya of the whole Crypto Ninja everything. Him and Ikehaya started that. So TMA Soldiers is the generative collection of the original Genesis one of ones that he was doing. And that's coming out 3/30, so March 30th. I think that's going to be a free mint, and I think if I remember correctly, they're keeping like a large portion for the like treasury, the management treasury. Might be around half or something like that. Then I think it's like a 20K, but I guess maybe around 10K are going on sale. I mean, double check on this stuff, but that's roughly what I heard last I heard. And this is one of the most highly anticipated ones in the coming days and weeks, I think.
Tony, you said it was the original co-founder or something with
With
Ike Is that what
so
you said?
yes, yeah. So Ninja DAO started as basically Crypto Ninja, the Genesis collections. He does one of ones, and so Ritsu, RII, the number two. I think that's how you write his name. Ritsu and Ikehaya started Crypto Ninja, and then that started, I think, in about September of 2021, and then it was May, I think May of 2022 when they launched Crypto Ninja Partners. So within the lore of Crypto Ninja, the partners are like the little mascot characters of these original Crypto Ninja characters. But it's extremely difficult to get a original Crypto Ninja NFT because it's like a whole community voting system, and they used to be like ridiculously expensive. I don't know if they still sell them or they only give them out. I don't know what the system is, but he says he has a plan for like the next, I don't know, 5 years of new characters coming out of these original Crypto Ninjas. Ikehaya says stuff like this, but yeah, Ritsu is the artist of that, but he was doing his own thing, the Mafia Animals.
You're right.
Okay, I got it. I'm looking at it now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and these Mafia Animals, the Genesis, some of them have sold for like 14, 15, 16 E.
Yeah, I was. So you're talking about that original collection? Are you talking about the Genesis, the CNP Genesis, or something different?
So yeah, CNP Genesis, I think so. Yeah, that would be the one of ones. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So that's what started everything. This whole Ikehaya Ninja world.
Right.
So of course, this is Ikehaya's war buddy. They've been in this since the beginning. This is very much a Crypto Ninja supported project, and I'm sure it will do well. But I don't know if it's going to be like a big volume thing like Our Panda was, or if it's just going to be another like TOL Pass thing where the floor is immediately like crazy high and people aren't buying. I really have no clue. AOT-san, you wanted to jump in?
No, nothing. But I
Oh,
read some description of the system of the Mafia Animals project. We
yeah.
can. They said that we can stake the
Oh, yeah.
characters.
Hmm.
Then they will give like items on NFT, I think. So
Yeah.
there's system for people to stake the, I mean, gachiho, kind of.
Hmm. Yeah,
So
yeah. It is. Yeah.
yeah. So
Yeah.
and
It's
then
like you upgrade your traits, I think.
yeah. So
Hmm.
and then you can put like several NFTs to one like box, but it should be
Hmm.
like the same the color, like background color. So you
Yeah.
can you are might be might need to buy more to make the set, I think. So
Right.
the secondary market is going to be hot, I think.
Oh, okay. Okay. That's a good point. Okay. So there's an incentive to buy more than
Yeah,
one.
yeah,
So
yeah.
maybe, yeah. Okay.
After reveal, I think, especially.
Ah, okay. 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 That's a good point. I didn't think about it that way, but yeah, if they have a good system to motivate people to buy more than one character, then
Yeah,
yeah, people might want to jump in. Even the Japanese holders, especially there, because they
yeah.
actually care about the project.
Yeah. So I think I thought that it was so sophisticated in a way. I
Uh,
think
it
the
is. It
first,
is. They're doing something different. I haven't seen a Japanese
yeah,
project do that yet.
I think it's well thought project, I think.
Hmm.
Not
Hmm. Hmm.
only famous but also well planned. I think plans for like long term, I think.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I know he wants to develop that into a bigger IP and like picture books and stuff like that. So, I mean, we'll see. But yeah, I'm sure it will do well. Especially the beginning, and I don't know. We'll see how it goes. But yeah, I don't have whitelist for that. So yeah, we'll see. I'm just gonna watch from the outside. Um,
Outside.
yeah, yeah,
Me too.
yeah. Let's see. Two more that I saw coming up. GGGGG.
What?
I think it's five G's.
What?
GGGGG. It's at GGGGG_JA. Um, this is a project that a lot of people have been asking me about, and I don't really know that much about it, but I think it's very game focused. This is coming out on the 31st of March, 331. I really can't say much about it. It seems like there's a lot of following. I think they're connected to some kind of game company or something. I just really don't know much about it, but a lot of people are paying attention because I've gotten like maybe 5 different comments from people saying, tell us about GGG. It's like, I don't really know, but I'll try to look into it. Sorry, it's like sorry, I just haven't had time to do a in-depth investigation. But that's coming out 331. Again, that's 5 Gs. GGGGG. um,
How do you
and
know
then
that like every Japanese project? How do you catch up?
People tell me, like, honestly, like most of the projects, like people just tell me, it's like, hey, do you know this one's like, no, not yet. Thank you for telling me. Now I'll check it. Yeah.
Okay, I see.
So it's actually very convenient. People just ask me.
Okay.
Yeah. And then the last one that I wanted to bring up because of the price here, this one is really interesting. So Amity Sensei. Um, so she's like a YouTuber that teaches like digital art on like the iPad and drawing and techniques for digital art. So this is coming out 4/14, April 14th. It's a 1,810 item collection. It's called ipadmates Doodle, and you can find her at Amity_Sensei, and the mint price is 0.15. So this is really rare for the Japanese market. Um, and the interesting thing about this project is she's not really doing like big collabs. I'm not seeing her on spaces all the time. She's not doing the typical Web3 marketing approach. She's not like doing anything with Ikehaya as far as I've seen. She's not like reaching out to do whitelist giveaways with Neo Tokyo Punks or, like all these big collections. She's just kind of doing things her own way. And like the utility is community membership, and she's planning to use the funds to like build her like ipadmates kids, I think it's called. It's basically going to be like real world schools where she can, well, I guess where not her, I guess multiple, she's going to hire people to teach like digital art and creation on the iPad and all that stuff. I guess she's going to use the funds for that, but she's basically just focusing on her core community from YouTube, and she's got really like loyal followers. So I don't know if this is going to be enough to sell out 1,810 piece collection at 0.15 ETH, which is expensive for Japan. But it's really interesting because she's not focusing really much on the overall Web3 like existing NFT people. It seems, as far as I've seen.
What's the
Tony,
name?
what's the spelling of what's the name and the spelling of the Twitter?
So it's at Amity. So that's AMITY_Sensei. If you look up Amity Sensei on Google,
I see it.
it'll come up.
Okay, I got
And
it.
in her pinned tweet is the details for her collection. But I mean, she's big on YouTube. I mean, I've watched her videos. She's a fun, like funny person. She was talking about doing like a seminar for Nissan, so she's well known. Like she's respected, and she's got her own accomplishments. But I just find it interesting how she appears at the moment to not really be focusing on the typical Web3 kind of marketing, and she's just kind of focusing on her own people. She's been in the NFT space for many months now. She's been selling like a previous collection for at least 6 months, I think, maybe even a little bit more. And a lot of people, I think, got into NFTs through her because she was already doing digital art, and then she probably started talking about NFTs. So she's really, really, really interesting approach. I think like if she pulls it off, it'll be maybe a more organic Gachiho community because people just really love her and she's not just constantly talking about Gachiho.
I
So
didn't know that.
I don't think there's a trade opportunity here at all. I just think it's a really interesting case.
Right.
Yeah, interesting for sure.
It's
She's got a
different.
Mm-hmm.
Discord. It looks like 3,000 people. She hit
Uh-huh.
3,000 people recently. When was this?
Uh-huh.
Like a week ago. Yeah, interesting.
Yeah,
Check
yeah.
this out. I mean, it's kind of interesting to see non Web3 people doing
Mm-hmm.
a lot of stuff like this, or people who are pretty pretty active and pretty successful elsewhere getting
Mm-hmm.
involved, because it's like it could be a little risky for them to kind of
Yeah.
disrupt their business model. So very interesting.
It is, but she's found like the perfect niche, right? The perfect crossover because the people watching her want information on digital art creation using like Photoshop or whatever. They love her and they love creating digital art, which matches perfectly with the NFT space, right? Because the most people, well, a lot of people in the Japanese space especially are creators and they're looking to monetize their thing. So they're looking to her as a guru, as this sensei, as she calls herself, right, to guide them. And so this is a perfect funnel for all these relatively new people into the NFT space.
Right. I'm checking the tweet, and
Mm-hmm.
then she shows the way to make a MetaMask wallet.
Mm-hmm.
So it's for the people,
New people.
Yeah, yeah, totally.
Yeah. So like, yes, it's expensive, but I think that she's not attracting people that are looking to flip anyway. Like,
Mhm.
these are new people that are just looking to grow their careers as digital creators.
Right.
And she's not trying to market to like the people like me that I don't care about what she's doing because like I'm not trying to become a digital creator, right?
Right.
So I like she's not buy how can I put it? She's not marketing to people that buy NFTs because they're NFTs. She's marketing to people that buy something because they like her and want to support her.
Right. Mm.
And I,
It
I
could be
think
a
it
great
might be a really good
resource.
approach. Like
Yeah, yeah,
again, it's not for us.
yeah.
Well, maybe a little bit for you, Aotiza, maybe a little bit, but
Right.
for me and Sunrock, no, definitely not.
Right.
Yeah. But it's just really interesting because it's so expensive, but she's doing things totally different and she might succeed. I think she has a really good chance at it because she's been doing this for many, many months. She's been actually spending a lot of time, building her community and it's impressive. It's impressive. So I'll keep an eye on it just to see how it goes.
Why do you know this project? It's outside of NFT, society. How do you,
A lot of
how do you,
people know Amity Sensei. A lot of people like the
okay.
digital creators, like Six Maker son. Like he told me, "Oh, do you know Amity Sensei?" Like,
Oh,
"Oh yeah,
wow.
I've heard about her."
Really?
So some people talk about her.
Okay.
Yeah,
Got
yeah,
it. Got it.
yeah. So look, my life is NFTs, so I just know too much sometimes. Like it's really seriously, it's a problem I think. But anyway,
Anyway, okay.
yeah,
I gotta
yeah.
go
Well,
now.
yeah, yeah. No, no. I was gonna finish up, but thank you, AOT-san, for coming on. It was great to have you.
Thank you. Me too. Me too. You too. You too.
Yeah. All right. Okay.
Thanks,
Bye,
Aotiza.
AOT. Yeah.
Good
Thank
All
talking
right.
you.
to you.
So Sunrock, I'm gonna wrap up, but I don't know if you wanted to comment on anything finishing up. Of course, let people know about Nick Alliance, but if you wanted to say anything else about anything else, let us know.
No, I just wanted to say I appreciate what you're doing, and yeah, how do you know about these things? You're the NFT otaku. That's why you
Yeah,
know
I
what's
am.
going
I am.
on. So, and it's great always to hear the alpha and what's going on. And I love having you on our show every Tuesday
Thank
morning,
you.
10 a.m. Japan time.
Yeah.
So always love having you. Always love talking about the alpha and other stuff. And your commentary is always great. So really appreciate what you're doing. And I'm
Thank you.
glad
Thank
to
you.
join you here. My schedule's not always set, but when I can, I'd love to join and be talk to you here. In
No,
this
yeah, it was
space
great
and
having you and AOT's on. Like it was a really different show today, but it was fun. It
yeah,
was fun. It was great.
totally.
So yeah, thank you
So
for
yeah,
coming
man.
on. Yeah,
Yeah, no,
and
that's it.
go follow at Neko Alliance at Neko Alliance. You can hear me on Tuesday mornings over there as well, and Sunrock and Neil, and Marimo, and they always have really really interesting guests. We're doing two different kinds of shows, but we're all focused on Japan, and I think they're bringing on some really interesting people on every week. So it's definitely worth a listen.
Yeah, we try to kind of have a theme every week and have
Mm-hmm.
interesting guests who we talk to. So as well as general market talk. So try to keep
Mm-hmm.
it kind of focused and interesting and kind of as tight as possible.
Yeah,
So
yeah, yeah, yeah,
it's great to
yeah,
have you part of
yeah.
that.
Thank you, thank you. So yeah, at Neko Alliance, nice and easy, Neko Alliance. All right, so thanks again, Sunrock. Thanks everybody for coming on and listening. Really appreciate it. Should be back next week with more stuff to talk about. So follow at Tokyo Alpha HQ, and my main account is the one that I'm talking from at the Vega Tony. I do tweet sometimes in English from there, and but I tweet a lot in Japanese. But you can translate that and auto translate. I'm sure Twitter can get you the gist of what I'm saying. All right, guys. Thank you so much. See you next week.